Addie, do you like animals?
I like a horse.
What else?
And I like anything else.
You only like horses?
And I like giraffes.
And giraffes?
Yeah.
Oh, are either of those animals in the Bible?
No.
I don't know. Are they?
Yeah.
Probably. Probably horses are.
No. Horses in the farm.
Horses are on the farm?
I see one horsey. I went to grab on the mouth and get a little ride.
Welcome to Toddling the Stacks, a human-produced children's literature podcast where we delve the archive for forgotten treasures to help you make sense of this impossibly large body of work and, hopefully, find some new favorites for your kid. I'm your host, Sean, an Ivy League English PhD with a toddler girl called Adeline, who is somehow even more critical of books than I am. Today we'll be looking at 1937's Animals of the Bible, illustrated by Dorothy Lathrope, with biblical text selected by Helen Dean Fish. It was the first book to win the Caldecott, an American award honoring the most distinguished children's picture book of the previous year. Illustrations prove primary for this prize, and judges are to consider the text only as a secondary concern, and then generally only if it hinders the work's overall effectiveness. You might think that those are narrow confines for an award, and friends, they are. Probably the only confines in which Animals of the Bible might be able to win. It's hard to understand today how this codex fits the genre of children's book at all. It seems better suited as a kind of beautiful coffee table devotional. The text presents as great bloody hunks of the King James Bible, alongside gorgeous illustrations aimed, according to Helen Fish, at enlivening the Bible, a book, she says, that is already rich and exciting and satisfying above all others. If we ignore the paradox of enlivening something that is already the most exciting, the appeal seems obvious. Children are naturally inclined to love animals. By bringing those animals referenced within the Bible to life in striking pictures possessed of considerable verisimilitude, we might incline them towards a greater love and interest of the Bible itself. And thus we might expect to find a variety of engaging images, such as this one from Noah's Ark, or the animals at Jesus' manger, or even embellishments such as this, wherein a scant reference to dogs at a family table is broadened into an endearing still life. And these exist, though alongside harder to understand decisions, such as the image of Eden with which we opened, or of Leviathan here, or even of Abraham with his knife at Isaac's throat. Such choices, at the minimum, raise the age for which we might consider this book, but they again also work to destabilize its genre. Add to this the mechanistic gating mechanism deployed by Fish in determining the passages used, one which resists storytelling and thus frustrates engagement, settling instead for passages with the merest mention of the animals. The Bible is replete with such references, but the majority of those singled out for this text serve as quick similes or allegories for humans, and that double removal makes this seem even more like a text divided between words and images, not a wholly formed and legible world or work. Nor does the translation help. While I grew up with the King James Version of the Bible, and as a Victorianist by trade find myself enamored of its loquaciousness, it proves impossibly dense for young readers. In this age of simplified translations, its poetics can only obscure meaning and dissuade interest, especially in the youngest readers. Today, of course, we have a plethora of alternatives for engaging children with key religious text. My own daughter has a shiny pink children's Bible with plush cover, cartoonish illustrations, and simplified stories spanning creation to the Second Coming. Through clever compression, they help make sense of many of the Christian teachings she experiences in her day-to-day life, such as Christmas, without overwhelming her. In turn, the interstitial spaces left by that compression create curiosity that may one day lead her to further biblical study. Now, I imagine that such a book might seem in some ways heretical to Lathrope, and towards that end, I do want to be fair to Animals of the Bible, which is, after all, a product of a distinctly different media epoch. A book assembled amongst the rubble of the First World War, amidst the Great Depression and at the doorstep, for America at least, of World War II. It is decidedly a product for different children and a different approach to Christianity. It was produced by 2 college-educated women, and it has won many awards besides the Caldecott. Lathrop herself was awarded the Library of Congress Medal in 1946, and these illustrations are gorgeous, technically thrilling, and clearly a labor of deep love enmeshed with considerable talent. For its illustrations, Addie and I awarded Animals of the Bible a 4.3 out of 5 stars. The highest scores in this category require that the illustrations create new meaning in the worlds against which they're placed, and this book fails that test. Still, Lathrop's clear passion pushes her into the 4s, and the fact that these are lithographic crayon on zinc plate only bolsters that. It's remarkable stuff. The story, however, can receive only a 1.5. My rubric for this category suggests that narratives in this range feel phoned in, and that's precisely what I feel here. The work to create a cohesive whole would require a reframing of familiar biblical tales and something like a narrative progression that does not exist here. And that problem bleeds into the repeatability category. Addie may one day read this again, but if so, it won't be for a decade. We were forced to abandon the story's actual text fairly quickly for impromptu summations and questions aimed at creating our own narratives. A fun project, to be sure, but far from the author's intent. My score reflects a certain deference to historical relativism. This is a seminal text. It is not one that has necessarily survived the test of time, which Addie's score also highlights. Many children may love animals as much as Adeline does, but none love them more than her. In that vein, she loved interrogating the images, being quizzed on them, but it took a secondary text to enliven them. Thus, our overall score of 8.3 out of a possible 25, good for 86th place out of 106 so far for the year. Now, I agree with this score, but I admit to a certain sadness that it only somewhat outpaces the AI slop we've been encountering with increasing regularity. But to end on a positive, there are reasons to pull this one up from the stacks. You may want to check Animals of the Bible out if you're a particularly devout Christian who has regularly read the KJV with your child, or if you have an older child who has shown interest in pursuing their own exploration of the Bible. If your child shows great interest in drawing or animals, or if you want to expose your child to a variety of media across time, the illustrations alone are more than worthwhile. It's just a matter of tempering our expectations around genre. Addie and I found it particularly useful to read this alongside her pretty pink Bible, whose story-driven text helped make sense of the illustrations. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Get your kids to the library, and keep on reading together.
This has been Toddling the Stacks. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or your podcatcher of choice for new episodes every Monday, and follow us on Insta, Blue Sky, and Facebook for the latest updates. If you like what you hear, leave us a review. Keep up with Adeline's reading now, find links to buy your favorites, and more at toddlingthestacks.com. Address questions or concerns to pod, that's P-O-D, at toddlingthestacks.com. Graphics for today's show were created by Emily Tatro. Make a website so people can hire you, Emily. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. This has been Toddling the Stacks. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or your podcatcher of choice for new episodes every Monday, and follow us on Insta, Blue Sky, and Facebook for the latest updates. If you like what you hear, leave us a review. Keep up with Adeline's reading now, find links to buy her favorites, and more at toddlingthestacks.com. Address questions or concerns to pod, that's P-O-D, at toddlingthestacks.com. Graphics for today's show were created by Emily Tatro. Make a website so people can hire you, Emily. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.